what's up, everyone? This is Orvard from Near Protocol Philippines. We have an exciting guest today or tonight in your time, or whichever part of the globe you are. Because in the blockchain world, it's always the sun is shining. I believe it's the technology that on which the sun never sets. All right, so we are out here in the outdoors, basking in the sun, and also grounding, forest bathing, the whole nine, in just immersing yourself in nature. Our guest for today is an artist, and he's been doing music for several decades now. And in fact, he started in the early 90s, early to mid 90s. He's part of Dow Records. It's a record label reimagined. We're going to elaborate on that later on. And also, he was in Southeast Asia, but currently in Canada. Specifically, he was in Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur, which is a neighboring country here in the Philippines. And he's part of a cutting-edge music, which is blockchain-based music and NFTs. So we're going to discuss all of those. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, please help me in welcoming Vandal. Vandal, welcome to the show.
What's up, Arvard? Thank you so much. Appreciate you having me. Big shout out to Near Philippines community and everybody. I'm happy to see you out and about in the sunshine and the earth. That was my early day today. Now I'm here on the computer, you know what I'm saying? And looking forward to having this chat with you.
Okay, awesome, man. Sure. So what interests me is that you stayed for a long time in Malaysia, but maybe you can tell us a little bit of a background of yourself, being a Canadian, stayed in Malaysia. How does that go?
Sure. I guess I can, I've got my mother to thank for my travel bug. She used to bring me out on trips with her when I was young. We went to Colombia and South America. We drove down to Mexico and Guatemala. We traveled through East Africa for 4 months. I turned 14 on a boat filled with bananas crossing Lake Kivu from Zaire to Rwanda. A lot of cool things happened in my life that led me to travel. And in 1993, I participated in a cultural exchange program between Canada and Indonesia. So that was my first taste of Southeast Asia. And through that, I wanted to always go back. And I ended up going back numerous times between 1996 and 2007. And ultimately, I decided that I wanted to kind of move and spend my time in Malaysia and also traveling throughout Southeast Asia.
Okay, wow. a globetrotter at a very young age. Probably that's the reason probably why you have all these, creative different paradigms of viewing things, the creativity, not just boxed in one paradigm. I guess that contributed to your.
Yeah, really. I think like one of the things I would love to see in this world, and I know that now it seems very challenging to imagine this as a possibility, but if every kid, teenager had the opportunity to go somewhere completely different from where they were from and spend a couple of months there living with people from that place, I think would make the world a much better place. So that would be something, if I had the power and the tools and the money to make happen, that's what I would do.
Wow. Yeah, especially tolerance and open-mindedness, I guess, for the kids. Yeah, makes sense. But you're originally from Canada. Whereabouts in Canada?
I'm from Toronto, born and raised, downtown city kid, that's like my hood, Queen and Spadina, the Beverly Boys, Kensington Market, Chinatown, like that's where I'm from.
Okay. And was your childhood influenced by your current genre in your music?
Pretty much. I mean, I remember like first, experiencing hip hop in the mid 80s. And it was more around like breaking the movie Breaking the Movie and Wild Style and Beat Street, and I was in love with the dance. So I started dancing, but I didn't really know much about hip hop culture at that point in time. I just had a lot of energy as a kid, and that was one of the ways that I dealt with my energy. But it really wasn't until like at the end of probably '89, going into '90, where I really like discovered hip hop and fell in love with it. And since then, I've of course I diversify my musical tastes over the years, and I think hip hop has allowed me to do that, to rediscover all the old soul and funk and R&B and jazz and blues gems where hip hop originates from. And it's been an amazing musical journey in that sense, and also just being exposed to so much music, especially through my travels as well. That's really had a big influence on me.
Okay, cool. So I guess we're in the same boat in a sense that I was not really into sports, but I started dancing ever since I was in kindergarten. So kids usually have a lot of energy, and you got to have some avenue through which you can express those
Yep.
that kind of energy. Um, okay, so who would you say were your influencers, if you will, or inspirations growing up, like literally artists?
Oh, in terms of music,
Mm-hmm.
um, that's a tough one. Really, it really is difficult to answer. I would say like a lot of my peers in Toronto. My friends that I did things with, like my friend Phil, Planet P, and Kwame, Symbolic. Like I think they were instrumental in my development as an artist, and of course we shared similar tastes when it came to the artists that we liked, like musically in hip hop. I was a huge fan of Master Ace, EPMD. Like I don't know, like there's so many. Nas is another one, like especially the first album. I really love Pete Rock and CL Smooth. Like there's, I think Eric B and Rock M as well. Like I think it's part of my lyrical, I guess, flow or delivery was influenced by Rakim. I'm a huge fan of KRS One, who's still doing it to this day. One of the longest running hip hop artists of all time, I would have to say, KRS One. And the Toronto artists as well, like Cardinal Official before him, Maestro Fresh West, the Dream Warriors, Mishi Me. Like there's the list of Toronto artists that had been, influential. And DJ X specifically, big shout out to DJ X from the Power Move show. The first, it wasn't commercial radio. Everything was on college radio. How I discovered hip hop, and it was through his show. Saturday afternoon, 1 to 4 p.m. was the premier time slot on radio for hip hop in Toronto.
Okay, got it. I think it's just common for artists who probably would try to imitate the people that they look up to first, and then try to shadow them. But later on, you got to discover your own voice and style. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, definitely. And I think that that's just a part of any artistic or creative process where, whether you know it or not, you're going to be influenced by the things you see and interpret or hear. And I think that's pretty true with how, I developed as an artist from the early days until later. And I think that it showed early on, but as like the early 90s and mid 90s hit, I was out on crazy journeys to Indonesia, experiencing gamelan music and wayang kulit and the various other like artistic things and styles of music that ended up also influencing me, and in terms of lyrics as well, and in terms of what my stories and what I wrote about became more personal after I had kind of embarked on these journeys.
Okay, got it. Before we jump into your how you started your career as a recording artist, maybe you can ask first. Do you have any other hobbies that may be not related to being a creative?
Travel. I don't know. Like, I guess technology has always been a big part of it because, starting out as a producer, I was using equipment, analog equipment, right? And as the technology advanced, I was introduced to always the newest audio recording technologies and various things. So I would say that technology has been a huge part of my interest, as well as music and travel.
Okay. Wow. It's a combination. Perfect combination for it. Travel to open your mind for a different way of viewing things. Music is your avenue, and then technology. I mean, with technology, you can.
There's Tool.
It's a tool of
Yeah.
amplifying whatever message you have.
Right.
I remember the MPC before. I mean, like right?
Yeah, I didn't have an MPC. I had a Roland W30, which was a keyboard sampler.
Mm.
This was before the Akai MPC 2000 came out, and I remember like we had only 7 seconds of sampling time.
Oh wow! I mean,
Not
I'm
a lot
not
to
a
work
musician myself, but 7 seconds doesn't sound enough.
Yeah, there were no computers to use to do your sound waves and chop them up and create layers. Like we were using cassette, four track cassette recorders to record on, and then we'd have like basically the beat would be on one track, and we'd have 3 tracks for vocals.
Okay.
So that's what we used to start.
Wow, I remember. I think me and my brother, because my brother is an independent recording artist himself. His major is what do you call it? Daddy Yankee.
Reggaeton.
Reggaeton. Yeah, he's got his people here as well. Well, in my hometown, in the middle part of the Philippines. But yeah, Fruity Loops on PlayStation 2, I guess. PlayStation 2, we try to couple up some beats there. But the evolution of technology now, it's just so sophisticated nowadays, which we'll try to get into. So maybe chronologically, you can tell us how you started your professional journey.
Yeah, it would probably it would have started in 1995 with the formation of my first group with my friend Phil, Planet P at the time, and then also eventually OB1, Alan, and Symbolic Kwame. And we started this crew called Cryptic Souls. And Cryptic Souls was basically the 3 of us, me, P, and Obi, who made the beats, and then our friends who would come by and record. So like Symbolic and KNG, and then we had a bunch of other people kind of come through the studio. So I had moved out of the house. I was probably, 20, 21, and I got my own place with Phil. We rented a place together, and we called it the Roach Motel because we had roaches all over the place, and we made dirty beats there, and we did all kinds of things, and it was just the vibe. And that was sort of where we founded the group. And then in about 98, things really took off. We had moved from the Roach Motel to the Cave, which was a basement apartment, and then from the Cave to the Cabana, which was roofed like a top floor. We had the 2 top floors of a house, and we had studio up at the top. So that was the Cabana, our 3rd studio. And at the Cabana, we had started doing live shows. Phil had started doing live shows called Planet Mars, which was a showcase of underground Toronto hip-hop artists and DJs. And through that, there was, I guess, more of a buzz around our crew because at the time we were starting to grow. We had members from Vancouver to Halifax, like all the way across Canada, from DJs to producers to graffiti writers to dancers to MCs. and the whole gambit of like pretty much beatboxers. Even though I do a little beatbox, not so much anymore, but you know, like we pretty much captured all the various elements of hip hop, and then we got invited to participate on a track by a Canadian band, it's brother and sister duo called Len, and they were just coming up with their new album, and they wanted to kind of do this Jurassic 5 kind of old school kind of sound to it. And our crew is, I would say we're old school to a degree. Like when we're talking about late 90s, we're talking about like the Puff Daddy era of like a lot of the commercial rap, and we weren't really, into the commercial stuff. We were more into the underground and the old school vibes. So we did a track on their album called Cryptic Souls Crew, and it was 12 of us with 4 bars each. I think 4 bars. No, 2 bars each. 12 MCs, the whole track with a chorus in between each 4 MCs. And that was sort of our introduction to the music industry. And unfortunately, as a lot of introductions to the music industry, and being sort of young and naive, we got taken advantage of. We had issues with the group. Eventually, because of all of this stuff, we broke up, and the whole crew was fractured, and there were various issues, and then that was, I guess, the learning experience, right? And we had to move on from there. But that would have been where it started. And also around that time, probably 98, I had left Canada, and I was in Mauritius and Madagascar at that time, and just traveling, doing music stuff. And it was kind of like I wasn't really following that route anymore. I had discovered my own path of what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go, the type of sound I wanted to create, and still kind of following the idea of collaboration and collaborating with various artists, whether it was artists in Mauritius, Madagascar, Mongolia, Philippines, Malaysia, Indonesia. I think that was sort of the catapult. And then it was 1999. I had come back from Malaysia, and I had been invited to perform there. It was one of the first real big gigs that I had, and I brought my friend Brian Restless, who's a graffiti writer, with me, and they invited like the 2 of us out to do the show. And when I got back, I had started putting together my first album, and I really wanted it to be a reflection of my experiences and me as a human, and the inspiration that I got from traveling. So my songs were about my travels, really. So I did a song about KL because the place really captivated me. It reminded me of Toronto in a lot of ways, with the tower, the fact that I stayed in Chinatown when I went there, and I grew up in Chinatown, and it just like the various elements were like, okay, I'm gonna do the song. So I did this song, and I sent it to my friend, and he's like, yeah, we're playing a track on the radio now. And I was like, huh? Okay. And Hits FM is one of the biggest commercial radio stations in Malaysia, and the track ended up going number 1, along with other big acts at the time, like Pink and Eminem and various other people. And here's me, Vandal, this Canadian kid, writing a song about KL. And next thing you know, it was just like, it blew up. And I got my album done. It took a while to get it all done and get out there. And I went out to Malaysia, and I did my thing. And that's kind of like the beginning of that sort of the nomadic addict phase of Vandal.
Wow. Nomadic addict.
That's the title of my first album.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So it gets addicting sometimes, I think, when you travel. The curiosity factor, and not the monotony, but also the variability that could be addicting. Sometimes you need more of that.
It is. It's definitely something that every day is a new day, and
Hmm.
exploring and experiences. I think really life is all about experiences, right? And I think that if we open ourselves up to have experiences by getting out of the house, like you're there, right, out of the house, who knows, maybe there's something will happen later on after and it'll be an experience for you, right? And the same with traveling, and it's all about these experiences that you collect, and to me that's a huge part of my life.
Yeah. I guess that when you try to get inspiration is to immerse yourself in different situations where you have not been in before. So you reacted in a way that even surprises you, and those kind of elicits different emotions and thought patterns that probably inspires you to come up with whatever let's say track or music that you can cobble up based on
Mm.
that. So it does make sense when it comes to being creative there. So cryptic souls, it sounds like prophetic. Now you're in
I
crypto.
know, right?
Cryptic.
Yeah.
That's what stood out to me actually earlier, which
Yeah.
which we'll get into in a bit. But I would like to know, you were traveling and then doing music. Did you have any, like, how were the equipment before carried? So for right now, for example, if you have a
Oh, yeah.
laptop, that's it,
I,
right?
I
But
brought I
before,
brought my sampler. I brought my sampler. I brought my VS 890, which is a multi-track. It was before computers had their DAWs, right? The digital audio workstations, where like Cubase, or where you can make beats, Fruity Loops. Like, they had a physical box. I still have it in Malaysia. I brought that shit with me, and I recorded. I had access to recording studios there as well. Like, some of my friends ran recording studios, so when I did collaborate with people, we would go to the studio and stuff. But yeah, I brought my gear with me as well.
wow, yeah.
I remember. Sorry, I remember going through customs, and they wanted to take it out, and they wanted me to open it up and plug it in and turn it on and stuff. And I'm, just to make sure that it wasn't like a bomb or something.
It
What
was
is
not
this?
modules
What is
of
this
of
thing?
ICBMs or whatever.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, at least you see the evolution of technology right now. I think you can just bring a laptop and everything is
Yep.
there.
Yeah.
So maybe
And a
kids are
mic,
spoiled these
laptop,
days.
and a mic, and you're good.
And like,
Yeah. And
yeah.
headphones or speakers. Yeah. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true.
Did you have some elements of different cultures interspersed in your album before maybe grabbing from the East Africa or Mauritius? Did you incorporate those elements
Yeah.
in your music? Hmm?
Yeah.
Hmm?
I really fell in love with gamelan music, the Indonesian gamelan,
Hmm?
especially like the Balinese gamelan, which doesn't really have any sort of strict tempo regulations. It flows from slow to fast, slow, and I made a bunch of beats with gamelan in them. I had just various things that I would record
Hmm?
myself,
Yeah.
and I would sample those recordings. So, whether that was like a guitar jam with people, or it was just like sounds in a market, or various things like that. So definitely you'll hear interspersed with a lot of my older material these different elements that I picked up along the way.
Okay. Got it. It also appeals to me, the what do you call it, rhapsodic, slow, fast, slow, like Bohemian Rhapsody, for example. They've got some
Mm.
faster tempo and
Yeah,
slower.
yeah.
I love that as well. I think if I was an artist, I'll probably dabble into that because the contrast between your highs and your lows, as well as
Hmm.
spectrum of emotions and all that. Um, so uh, yeah, I guess let's crack into. So that's the old school, old paradigm doing music.
Hmm.
Now, this paradigm shift is called blockchain. Now, I guess that the viewers here in the Philippines, be they not just hip hop but also in other genre, why would they consider jumping onto the blockchain universe? And then also we might hear your story of how you transition into that.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe I can kind of begin with my story, because I think that when I share that, maybe people will relate to my experiences. So, given that I've been involved in music for quite some time, I've witnessed a lot of changes with music, and as I made my journey in '99 to Malaysia, was really when the MP3 started to pick up and become more acceptable. There were like Napster and SoulSeek and LimeWire and the various other tools to get your MP3s, right? And I was, seeing these changes, and I was pretty captivated by the technology because, if you were to record digitally, the file sizes were quite large. And, to the internet at the time, the bandwidth was quite narrow. So the MP3 actually has been around since the 70s. It's just that there wasn't a way to transmit it in a way so that we could compact it enough to then send it through the bandwidth, right? So that time of like 99 2000 was really like the optimal file size meets bandwidth. Even though I don't know if you remember, but like it would sometimes take hours to download one song,
I guess so.
and we're
I
talking
remember.
about like what is it, 512K dial-up modems. Like, yeah, like a lot of people these days, they don't know about that, right?
Mm,
So I think the technology and the advancement of the technology, especially with music, has changed the way music was made,
mhm,
and it changed the way that it was distributed.
mm,
So going from vinyl to cassette to CD to digital, then everything became digital. By the time we hit like 2015 at 2012 2015, it was all about streaming
mm,
and getting your songs on streaming services. And it wasn't so much about putting together an album and putting out a CD, although people still did it. It was actually more economical and more affordable to just do a song on your computer, get it all together, and then put it up on SoundCloud or Bandcamp, or get it up for streaming services and whatnot. So I noticed in that shift with the technology, the way that people interacted with music and the value of music seemed to, like drop. Essentially, like there was a lot of, the value was less. The streaming, the amount you would make for streaming is very, very small, a fraction of a penny if you're lucky. And there, the value of what you had to offer as a musician kept getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and eventually the physical formats were squeezed out, so that really all we were doing as musicians was social media and streaming. And then, of course, the bread and butter is live shows, at touring, and of course your merchandise, where you might have physical CDs or vinyl or cassettes, and your T-shirts and whatever else you got, right? But I think, on my journey with technology, having discovered, I guess, the first music streaming platform on the blockchain that I discovered was MusicCoin, and this was around early 2018.
mhm,
And I thought, this is the future. You know, it's blockchain,
mhm,
it's transparent, it's instant payment, it's tips, and you can push people to it, and you earn like directly. You're not having to go through a record label or an intermediary like a Spotify, who then is going to take you like a month or maybe a quarter. Every quarter you get your payout. Like, it just seemed like this is the optimal solution
mhm,
for the problems of the music industry. So I became an ambassador of Music Coin in the early days with my brother DJ Lethal Skills, and we discovered Steam It, which was a blogging platform where I first found other creatives who were kind of like, Steam It's one of those platforms where you didn't have to be a blockchain nerd to understand how to use it and benefit from it through your upvotes and whatnot, right? So it just like these tools started to make more sense to me, and then I just dove in more, and I wanted to learn more, and I wanted to find out where the creatives were, and I wanted to see things built for creatives, because there's problems to be solved in the traditional music industry that weren't being addressed. And artists were getting ripped off, they were getting underpaid, and this seemed like the solution. So I was all for it, and I was promoting it, and that kind of leads up to where I guess what the next question is going to be, and what I'm doing now.
Okay. All right. So blockchain, do you think, how much of a game changer is blockchain? So you see the evolution of music from vinyl to CD, to cassettes to CDs. What would you say would be the steepness of a game changer or paradigm shift is blockchain?
It really is. It's, I think, as disruptive as the computer. And or the internet. The internet. I think the internet is a better word, a better way to describe it, in terms of its ability to disrupt so many various industries, not just like finance, which is what it was built off of at the beginning, but also all the cultural industries. Actually, every industry that we know of that relies on the internet.
Right.
As a means to either sell products or create products or distribute products. And I mean products from the widest sense possible. That could be intellectual property, that could be your writing, that can be like an actual digital asset, whatever type of product, not just traditional products per se. So it is definitely, this is like definitely a game changer.
Okay. Well, the reason why I'm excited to have you on our show is because when people think of NFT, they might only think of the most popular form of NFT, which is right now the visual NFT, or maybe a little bit of dynamic there. But that they may not have thought about that it has other use cases actually, which is interesting. Because I think there was an expert who said that the internet made the distribution of somewhere along those lines of information, but blockchain has made an internet of values now. Be it FT, which is the fungible token in the form of cryptocurrency, and NFTs, the non-money token value that can be exchanged throughout the globe in real time, 24/7, which is scalability as well. Yeah. Wow. Okay. So so that's why blockchain. So let's talk about maybe if you can share your screen, your projects, and some of your let's say Rare Vandal project. Maybe you can showcase that as well on Near Protocol. By the way, how did you get introduced to Near Protocol, and why Near Protocol?
Okay, let me just first find what I want to share, which I think is this one. Okay, so I'll go with the Near question first, and then I'll share my screen. Okay. So, it was probably around July last year. I was working on putting the DAO together with 5 other people for DAO Records. And Ethereum started to experience the gas fees exploding. Basically, the network fees just really becoming more expensive to do anything on Ethereum.
Okay. And for our
Uh,
viewers there, what are gas fees? Maybe if too much
so
of a
they're the network fees. So in order for you to do anything on the network, whatever it is, whether that's creating an NFT or sending a token to somebody else, you have to pay a network fee to do that. So on Ethereum, they call it gas. Like you would need to put gas in your car to get from one place to another. You need to put gas in your transaction to get it through.
right, getting more
So
expensive. Yeah.
right. So we were looking for a solution for the DAO. So we decided to deploy it on the POA network using XDAI. But the technical challenges behind it, and especially for create, like I'm a creative, but I'm also like into tech. So I wouldn't call myself like a technical creator, but more of a creative technician. But so it became very challenging for the other members of the DAO to interact. And I felt like, okay, this is maybe not the right time for us to pursue, deploying a DAO. So I kind of decided, all right, that at this point, I'm going to take a break from the idea of a DAO and really try and find what the identity of DAO Records is. And through that journey, I started to explore the other things in the ecosystem, right? And looking at alternatives. And so I was working with Mintbase to develop the first audio NFT, first on chain with the MP3 that you could play it, because other people have done audio NFTs before me. So I can't take credit for what has already been done. But this sort of current iteration of what audio NFTs are now was sort of me pushing Mintbase, Nate and Carolyn, to integrate MP3 and a player in with the NFT, so that we could have this audio NFT. And they went for it, and they did it. And Nate is like an amazing guy, and he put it together. So then we started doing all of our NFTs using Mintbase on Ethereum, regardless of gas costs. Right? We did it anyway. But then Nate and Carolyn mentioned, "Hey, we're going to be building on Near." So I didn't really know much about Near at that point in time, and I was like, "Okay, that's cool." Like what are the benefits? Why are you moving there? Like asking the questions, and then I just had a bit of knowledge, did a bit of research, but I wasn't like full in yet. And it wasn't until really that the Create Base, the Creative Guild, launched, and I really started to see how the ecosystem within Near was developing, and I found it very appealing, given that I'm an underground artist. I appreciate the underground, and I feel like Near has got that organic grassroots underground appeal to it, because it's not like shit tons of money is being thrown in to develop professional, however you want to do it, like polished apps. Like, we're a bunch of misfits here who are like experimenting with cool technology and hacking away at stuff, and that's what I find exciting, because it's about building stuff and having fun and doing it in a way where it's like open and transparent and open source and sharing, and that's what I really liked about it, was the fact that the community was very welcoming and dynamic in terms of the different types of people and from various parts of the world, and also that I trust Mintbase, and I know that they wouldn't pick Near for no reason.
Right.
So
you found your tribe, so to speak.
Well, I've got a big tribe. I've got a massive blockchain tribe. So it is where I've been building.
Hmm.
and working on building community
Okay.
with Near. Yeah.
So probably the reason why Mint Base, Nate and Carol have decided to build on Near in itself is already a, let's say, a serious decision. And they're tech, so like they're opposite of you, like they're inverse. So you said
Mhm.
you're creatively based, but technically enhanced, but your base is still creative. Maybe in
Mhm.
their case, they're technically based, creatively enhanced in a sense that Mint Base is a creative platform, but still has its like underpinnings and bowels, the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
But maybe
Yeah.
that must have like influenced you that there must be something here on Near the fact that Nate and Carol decided to be there.
Yeah,
And
and they were, I would say they were hard selling, but they were telling me the benefits of using Near, and of course we were waiting a long time for them to drop the platform and have everything ready for mainnet, and it's been an exciting journey,
right,
you know, to
that's
get
last
to
month,
where we are
May.
now. Yeah,
May, yeah, come on.
literally just happening.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was gonna work. I was gonna come up with a pun on it. Actually, it's not mainnet, but May, like the month of May. Net, because
Mainnet.
it's yeah, yeah. So it's just been a month now, and we see a lot of things going on within the create base and also in the audio NFT. And I think that just to commend you there, Vandal, of living up to your craft when you mentioned earlier that when hip hop was commercialized, so you kind of like dilute and water down the craft just for the sake of money. But I think my commendation to you is that you stuck to the original form of the art, regardless of maybe the revenue, as long as you're sticking with it and not compromising it, which actually makes you
Yeah,
an artist.
to a degree. To a degree, I mean, I like I don't like the idea of being in a box
Hmm.
specifically, but I like to experiment and I like to collaborate. So in collaborating, you do things that are outside of your comfort zone and your genre. So I've done stuff with like rock acts. Um, like for example, like Pop Shove It in Malaysia, which is a band, one of the bands, and I've done stuff with Jason Lowe there, who's also like a rock artist. I did stuff with the drum and bass producers, Transient Vortex, and various like like I don't know. I find that exciting and
Right.
challenging,
Right.
to do that. So,
Hmm.
but in a way, that's also kind of underground as well to a degree. I mean,
Mm.
it's not with the intention of being sort of mainstream and following that trend. I mean, I had opportunities. I could have gone that direction, and I
Right.
chose not to. And
Mm.
I at times I think about it, but I don't regret it.
No regrets. Yeah, yeah. I
Nah.
guess that knowing your values first, and then just like standing your ground.
Yeah.
But a little bit modifying it, like in your case, for example, it was, I think, a brilliant marketing move, if you will, or a better communication style in coming up with a track about Malaysia. That's what made you, among the
But
M&Ms and Pink.
yeah, but that wasn't planned. Like I didn't think about it. Like I wasn't in my head going, "Hey, I should do a track about Malaysia, and then I can maybe get some fans in Malaysia." Like that totally wasn't my plan. I just really wanted to do something from my heart
Right.
and just share my experiences. And like in the song, I talk about the places in KL where I was and my friends and the various sort of innuendos and I used like Malay language in it, so like it was like kind of a mix of English and Malay, and that was kind of the thing because being in Indonesia, living in a small village on this cultural exchange program, like I learned Indonesian. So
Mm.
Indonesian and Bahasa Melayu, they're very similar in a lot of ways. Same base core language, and it was easier for me to communicate in that sense and to utilize the language as part of my gimmick.
Right. I guess the ability to connect with your immediate circle, like what we're doing right now, for example, this decentralization thing, democratizing everything. So it's a different form of connecting with your tribe to resonate with the people, not a centralized, well, mass produced, but more of a really creating your own small community. What they call the first 1,000 true fans first, something like that.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So let's crack into some of your visuals there.
Okay. Sure.
So probably in a nutshell, on near, gas fees are infinitesimally small, negligible.
Yes, that is true. They are very, very small on here. I think to mint a track cost me 0.0001 near.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I'm having computer issues. My little computer is taking a while for it to load. Okay, let me switch up the page. Oh, here we go. Okay, so I'm going to start with this. This is this is my latest NFT
Okay.
that I've got up on Mintbase in the Dow Records store.
Hmm.
Okay, so this one is part of my project called the Rare Vandal Project, right?
Right.
So the Rare Vandal Project is about unearthing these sort of hidden gems that have been like in hibernation since 1995 and live on this cassette. So they were like beats that I made from the mid 90s on this beat tape, and I've taken four of them and I've created these rare beats. So there's four rare beats. So over the course of 4 weeks, so we're in the fourth week now, I've released uh, four rare beats, and each of them in an edition of 10. So there's 10 copies of each. Now, what I did was I wanted to gamify it a bit. So I turned it into like a hunt. So
Hmm.
the hunt for the rare vandal, and the idea behind the hunt was so that you needed to perform various tasks for you to get a rare beat. You can't simply just go buy the rare beat. You have to do something to get it. But what I did to start each hunt, I offered up a founder card. So this is the Rare Beat 4 founder card, and when you purchase the founder card for 50 near, you get 25% of the forever royalties on all of the Rare Beat number 4 NFTs. You get one of the editions of the Rare Beat 4 audio NFT, and you get 5,000 Rare Vandal tokens, which I minted on Token Farm, and I have liquidity on Rev Finance. So we're using the tools of the Near ecosystem in order to kind of have fun with this project. So this is just the way I just minted it today. I haven't even like put it out to promote it. I'm going to be doing that shortly. But yeah, so like with that, I have this over here. Did the screen change for you?
Yeah.
Okay, so let me go back to this is my medium. So it all started with the hunt for the rare vandal, right?
Hmm.
So this was sort of the opening gambit, the introduction of what the project is all about, and what it represents, and what is the rare vandal, and how you can get it, and why I'm doing this.
Hmm.
And I wanted to really like try to do something different, because I know that NFTs and the idea of having NFTs is for you to like sell your art or sell your creative your creations, your digital creations. So I've been doing that now for over a year. Not just my own stuff, but through Dow Records, we've been facilitating the sale of other people's stuff. And I wanted to do something that wasn't for sale, and
Right.
that in order to get the NFTs, like you couldn't buy them, you would have to go and perform tasks. So for the first drop, it was a random contest on Twitter. We had people, retweet and add their near wallet and tag a friend, and then 9 random winners were selected. The second one was like a scavenger hunt across crypto voxels, which is a virtual world built on the Ethereum blockchain. and you have to go around and hunt for my little character, the rare Vandal character, and find them in there. And that to me was like the most fun that
Yeah.
we had with it. The third drop, which happened last week, was probably the most difficult one of them all. It was okay. So we had people sign up to the mailing list, and then they were to click through to a form, and they had to answer 6 questions about Rare Vandal. So you had to know something about Rare Vandal in order to get yourself a rare beat number 3, you
Right.
had to get all the answers right. Well,
Mhm.
I have 18 submissions,
Mm.
and only one person has managed to get it right. So what I've done is, with my latest post on Medium, which I'm going to be publishing shortly after this, I've put all the answers to those questions in the post. So
Okay.
those reading it will be like, okay, they can get the answers and they can go back and then they can get it, because it was too challenging for people to get the answers all right. So that's what I decided to do there.
Was that your brother
And
who got it right?
no, I'm an only child, so
Oh,
this.
okay.
Well, I've got a half brother somewhere out there. Shout
Okay.
out to the half brother. Um, yeah, so it was like, what I really wanted to know was what people would do.
Mm.
So, in order for you to get the one of one rare
Right.
Vandal audio
Mhm.
NFT, this is like what you, after all the rare beats come out. This is
Right.
like the grand prize, right? This is like an unreleased track,
Mhm.
one of one, never going to be put out anywhere else. It's only going to be as an audio NFT. So I was like, all right, the first person to collect all 4 rare beats wins the rare Vandal.
Mm.
Now, how are you going to get all 4? Good question. Your
Right.
odds your odds are very slim to get the first, because that was done in a contest. The second one was a treasure hunt, so obviously it's a bit easier for people. The third one has proved to be extremely difficult, so hopefully when people read the post, they're going to get it and they will, get the answers in so they can claim their rare Vandals. And the fourth one, I've been like thinking about doing an auction for it, which I think I
Mm.
still will do an auction. I'll do an auction on Mintbase for the 4. I was debating whether or not to do one, and it was just like, because I didn't want to make it for sale kind of thing.
Right.
But I think what I'll do is I'll do the auction, and then I'll share the proceeds with the other people who bought the Rare Vandal founder cards. So that's what I'll do. So then once you have your Rare Vandal, how are you going to get the other ones? And I really wanted to see what people would do. Are they
Mm.
going to barter trade? Are they going to, put theirs on the open market? I like, is the Rare Vandal ever going to come out? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is the experiment, and to me that was something that I really wanted to kind of try to see what would happen, and what we could do differently in
Mhm.
terms of NFTs. And I don't know why my page is not loading anymore. What's going on here? Okay, this is it's a bit slow, but okay. So shifting gears, we're going to
Right.
go to the Dow Records website. So Dow Records is my sort of my baby, my pet project, and
Mhm.
and this idea of how we can reinvent the record label and use NFTs as a vehicle to do it. So the tagline is, we're building the tools of the future music industry ecosystem to enable musicians to harness the power of the blockchain revolution. And this is very important because these are the tools of the future,
Mhm.
especially for creatives. The blockchain is going to work like how the internet works. You don't you know We don't need to know how the internet works to use it,
Right.
right? So that's what I envision the future of blockchain and the various platforms that are built on it in the Web3. So this is kind of what we're setting out to do with Dow Records. So we have our catalog of various tracks that we've released from people in our ecosystem and those who have reached out to us. These are some of our first ever NFTs, the gold editions that were done on Rarible and on Mint Base. And then, of course, we have some of the traditional releases that we've also done here as well. And CryptoVoxels. If it
Okay.
appears, yeah, it does. Look at that. You get to see CryptoVoxels here. You can do a little tour of the gallery if it loads. Yeah. It's kind of cool. You can enter CryptoVoxels right from the website.
Mm.
So these are some of the audio NFTs here that we have in the gallery, and this is a venue that I built in CryptoVoxels. So I designed all this stuff here. We recently did the CoinGecko after party with DJ Nana and Random Kid, and yes, it's just like a cool place where you can go and experience music, and you can, in case you need to use the loo, here it is for you there.
Wow.
And boom into the secret room.
Oh.
So there's a lot of fun stuff to play around with in CryptoVoxels. But yeah, I think that kind of sums it up. I won't take too much time on my screen share there. But yeah, like I think that utilizing all the various tools that we have in this space,
Mm-hmm.
especially when it's like they complement each other, like virtual worlds,
Right.
right? We can connect anywhere for an experience.
Mm-hmm.
And what type of experiences? Well, music, entertainment, live performances, DJs, treasure hunts, scavenger hunts, experiencing NFTs. All of these things, right, can be put into the virtual worlds as like galleries, right, for the artists. And we're really kind of pushing the boundaries when it comes to what we can do, like musically,
Right.
in virtual spaces. And then NFTs, obviously, with minting and releasing. And there are some things down the road that we want to get to that I've talked about previously in some of the conversations I've had with on the different panels and stuff that I've been on. In terms of how we want to develop the ecosystem. I really want to connect with people, connect with artists, connect with musicians, connect with developers and people who are building, and look at what kind of cool shit we can do.
Yeah.
Because it's all about doing cool shit. You know what I mean?
For
And
sure.
that's what this is all about, and that's what gets me excited. Like there was a point in life before this
Mm.
where I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing here in this world? Like, it's just like, it's this same old, being frustrated about, the music industry or the various politics that revolve around it, and the fact that, musicians are being exploited, and like
Right.
a lot of things. And when I discovered this, it was liberating
Mm.
and rejuvenating. And I really felt like I was back in the early 90s again, when I was like doing hip hop and just living and
Right.
making music. I don't create as much as I used to.
Mm.
And it's not because I don't want to, but it's just sometimes it's hard to divide the brain into creative time, and like I can't schedule creative time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not one of those things. So yeah, like, I'm content with building community. Like, we have the NXM Music Guild, which is something that I wanted to talk about for those who are in
Right.
the near community. If you're a musician, musicians, you want to get them involved,
Mm-hmm.
send them to the NXM Music Guild. We're on Telegram and Discord. We have a Twitter, we have an Instagram, we have a Facebook now. Like, things are
Yeah.
starting to come together for the guild. We've got a DAO. We've been funding projects. It's been amazing. And if you're out there, if you're watching this and you're into music and that kind of thing, just come and join us for the journey.
Cool. Thanks, Vandal. Actually, that's one of the questions that I was going to ask you is, and how on how to reach out to you, and then get these people started, and then they don't know where to go, for example, from here, like the lowest hanging fruit for them. But the near PH Philippines, we currently have the visual NFT community, but we haven't had any structure yet for the audio NFT. It's a segment, if you will.
Hmm.
But thanks for creating your ecosystem there in NXM. We're gonna put them in the show notes. And what I was gonna tell you earlier was that your mechanics in designing the Rare Vandal project, it just fascinates me, man. It's like, that's why I think I asked you before, did you consult with some, like, let's say, community or blockchain experts? So but when you told me that it's just all your ideas, I was like, wow, that's the kind of creativity that can afford artists in not just creating the actual product itself, but also the mechanics on how to obtain them, and the
Hmm.
storytelling, the plot, the twist, and some elements of surprise. I love that.
Yeah, and
Making it
this is
more creative. Yeah.
right, and I think that these are the tools that allow you to do that because, like I say to people, NFTs can offer an experience, and they shouldn't just be looked at as a vehicle for a content or a file, right? That you can really include an experience along with the NFT and thinking about how to deliver that experience and be creative as possible because we're getting back to the like this idea of passive listening and streaming and things, and we're getting back to the days of albums and
Mm,
concepts and cover art and liner notes and who produced that track, or like people really digging into the music more and
right.
appreciating the music as opposed to having it play passively on a playlist on your Spotify or something, right? Like
Correct.
you're not necessarily engaged with it, whereas I think that this is the type of technology that can allow you to engage people, and with all the various tools in the ecosystem, make
Uh-huh.
it fascinating. So why not, you know?
Yeah, yeah, correct. I remember, like in ancient times, people would perform when it comes to music, whether they are in an amphitheater. So it's more interactive, which is immersing. And then Web 1 to Web 2, which is just like almost like one way. But now blockchain has returned the power to everyone in
Hmm.
interacting with one another, for now virtually, but maybe given the time later on after social distancing easing, we can again face to face and interact, and perform live, and all that jazz. No pun
Hmm.
intended.
Yeah,
um,
and it will be very different as well because we're going to be then it's looking at how this technology can be integrated into the live experience. How can NFTs exist in the live experience? How does it work? Who's going to do what? Like these experiments, right? Like what we're
right.
doing. How do we project the metaverse into the real world now, so that
Hmm.
the people in the metaverse can feel like they're a part of the live show? How do we do these things? Like how do we integrate all these various elements? Do we have tickets on with your NFT as a ticket, right? Like so there's a lot of cool things that I think are going to emerge
Hmm.
once we open up and entertainment starts to take shape again, and who's going to innovate, who's going to do what. I'm excited for that as well, so
Right. That's
that's
that's why Nate and Carol just made it. That did not confine NFTs into a very limited use case, but the the adjective purposeful
mhm,
NFT, right? It says it all. It's like it's a
yeah,
never-ending infinity of however you
right,
want to utilize your NFT, which is
exactly,
amazing. Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
cool. So, maybe some last words again to the specifically here NFT artists, specifically audio or musicians. Where can they find you? Maybe your handles.
Sure. Yeah. So me myself is Van Digital. That's like Vandal, but the digital Vandal. So Van Digital. I'm everywhere on all the social accounts with that handle. Dow Records underscore. So if you're finding us on Twitter or Instagram, it's Dow Records with an underscore at the end, or dowrecords.org, .org for the website. NXM Live is the Twitter and the Instagram handle for the Music Guild with Near.
Hmm.
We're also on Telegram. I think our Telegram is the NXM. So that's t.me or whatever the Telegram short handle is. I think it'll be
I'll put it in
down
the show notes.
all
Yeah.
down there. Yeah, and you can just reach out to me personally if you want to. I'm DMs are always open, happy to try and chat. Things are busier than normal, so apologies if I not don't reply immediately, but I always try and reach out to everybody who makes a point to reach out to me.
Well, Rare Vandal, or Vandal, thanks for spending time with us. I would say terima kasih, right, in Malaysia?
Sama sama.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll probably see each other somewhere in the blockchain universe, especially on Near ecosystem. But until then, all the best on the projects and the undertakings with the community. And yeah, thank you for now. And guys, once again, subscribe to our channel, hit the like button, and follow us on all social. We put it on the show notes. And once again, follow Vandal and his creative projects, and maybe get his rare beats later on when he uploads it on Medium.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Arvid. Appreciate it. Big shout out to the Near Philippines community and everybody watching this. Be as creative as possible. That's all I have to say. There's no limit to what you can do. If you think of something, it can be done. Do it. You know what I mean?
Awesome.
Cool. Thanks. Peace.